I've never owned a camper before, so I'm not going to lie to you and tell you what I think is best and what you should buy. Instead, we have a camper now, and I'm really excited about it, and I'd love to share with you what we got and how everything works. This isn't your typical camper. It's not a slide-in. It's a canopy, like a truck cap. I'll show you what I mean right here. You'll notice that the bed is exposed. Most slide-in campers have a floor that's integrated within the camper, and that's making it all sealed one unit. This sits right on the top of the truck bed. So why would we buy something like this instead of a slide-in? Like many of you, you might have a light duty or a half-ton truck, and you weren't thinking about putting a camper on it. So the truck was great as it is, but then when you try to put a camper on it, you realize one big thing. There's a weight problem. Now, most people that have campers on their trucks are overweight. That's just a fact. You can check the weight capacity in your truck by opening the driver door. You got some stickers here. This sticker says, "My truck is rated for 1,380 pounds. That ain't a lot of pounds. Though the truck looks totally capable to haul just about anything, it actually isn't. I did some searching around to see if there was a slide-in model that fit this truck that was well within my weight, and I found a lot of stuff that was about 1,500 pounds dry. So you're already starting off overweight without even adding people and gear. A lot of people forget about the fact that people and gear weigh a bunch too. The thing we liked best about this unit is that it weighed 800 pounds wet. That's pretty cool. Just because this thing's 800 pounds doesn't mean that we'll be below weight once we're geared up, but it gives us a fighting chance at being close to it. We live in Alaska, and a lot of the roads that we adventure are pretty rough, so putting extra strain on the chassis is not something that I'm interested in. It's going to lead to problems long term. All right, let's start going over every feature of this canopy. Starting on the driver's side, we have the furnace exhaust. So this thing has a furnace in it. It's a 20,000 BTU furnace, which if you've seen any of the cabin videos of mine, that furnace is actually a 20,000 BTU furnace. So this thing is heating with the same amount of power as my entire cabin. Pretty cool. This door right here, lockable. This is where the propane lives. So with a key, you open it up. Pretty simple. And right here, you got a standard grill-sized propane bottle. So pretty easy to swap out at just about anywhere. I like to keep this off while we're driving around, but it's probably not a big deal if you keep it open. It's got a strap here to hold it down. Doesn't wiggle around that much. Inside, you can see that the gas is hooked up directly to a regulator, and then that regulator is connected inside, plumbing-wise, to the furnace. The door's got a little vent port here too, so that if there is a little bit of excess gas leakage, that it's got a way to get out. Having it lockable is really nice because it keeps people from stealing your propane. Next down the line is we have our shore power plug-in. So this is a 30 amp, 125 volt rated plug. So if you're at a campground, this is what you can plug into and you'll draw power and everything will run off that. You can also charge your batteries when you're plugged in like this too. So I mentioned batteries. It also has a solar panel on top of the roof, as you can see up there, I believe. There you go. I can't see that high, but it's probably got some leaves and some water on it. It just rained. You could put any size solar panel up there. You saw that there was a lot of space. One panel is roughly 200 watt of charging. So you get a fair amount during the summer. Because we don't do a ton of power hungry things, we're wanting to charge a phone or plug a laptop in every now and then. One panel is plenty good to keep the battery full while we're doing that. If you're somebody that's going to want an electric griddle or microwave or anything like that, then maybe you'd want a bigger system. But for us, something simple and small is totally fine. You see we have a light right here. You can adjust the angle in which that it's going to shine. And that runs off an internal switch inside. Got the rain covers over the windows to help from stuff getting leaky. You got the LEDs at the top. And those go all the way around the camper. You can see up top in the middle there. And then on the other side as well. And so those will be illuminated when you have your lights on in the truck driving around. You got these little rain spouts and gutters that run along the top. Those work pretty good. They're actually kind of fun to watch too. And I guess in a scenario where you're trying to rain catch, it'd make it pretty easy for you to set up a bucket underneath and collect enough water for boiling some pasta or something like that. Now let's move on to the back. We got these big double doors, which I think is really cool. Gives you a whole lot of space to move gear in and out. Most slide-in campers have a very narrow door where you're kind of squeezing into. It allows me to use the bed of the truck like a truck. If I'm running to the store and I want to pick up something bulky or dirty, I don't have to worry about getting the floor of the slide-in all messed up. One of the big selling points for us with having this big opening beyond the nostalgia of the old truck is we just had a kid, and now we have big strollers and all sorts of bulky gear that really require a truck bed or a van. We got the trailer light hookups right here, unobstructed, which is nice, as well as backup sensors. Those are unobstructed as well. Before we go inside and look at everything, I want to show you the passenger side. The amount of accessories that you can put on the outside of campers the list is very long. Really, the only one that we were interested in was an awning. This is a manual awning, so you have to get up here and do all the things by hand. There isn't an electric switch that you can just hit and it all deploys. There isn't a crank or anything like that. The awning rolls all up and then straps in. So we first start off by unzipping it from its holder here. It's a little tall, just when you're standing on the ground. I'm 6'1", and I can just about reach it. Getting in and out of the back, we've decided we're going to bring a step stool, and we'll be able to use that step stool over here when deploying the awning. So it won't be much of a big deal for me to reach the awning. I'm just going to use a bucket to stand on for now because we don't have that step stool with us. So inside this, we have 2 straps that hold the awning, and you can see them. There's one right there, Velcroed. There's another one right there. So you just undo this and it pops open. And when I undo the second one, it'll start to unravel. And I'll put the camera back a ways and show you how that works. So you can see as I just let it kind of unravel on itself that it'll continue to roll out. So I'm gonna let this thing go all the way down. And then once we're all the way down, you see it exposes these posts that are embedded in the end. You're gonna pull these out. These posts, they work kind of just like a trekking pole. So they lock in when you twist them clockwise. When you counterclockwise them, they loosen up and they'll extend. And these guys are 7 feet long. And the other side, I'll do 7 feet long on that as well. Now when you deploy these, this is a pretty tippy setup right now. I put the poles angled away from the truck to kind of hold everything out for a moment. There's 2 more steps to really lock this into place. So up underneath the awning, where you had pulled it out from in the holder, is 2 more poles. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull those out, and they are this support here. And these poles, just like the end poles, telescope out with counterclockwise rotation and then just slide them out. And then there's a little hole that is in the frame right here that you will put the little nipple in. And then lastly for this, you're gonna take this Velcro and wrap it around those poles. And make sure that's extended and tight, and then I'll rotate it. Do the other side. Rotate that around. Telescope it out. Attach to the frame. Get it nice and tight. Put the Velcro on. And now lastly, these posts here holding everything up don't have to be so slanted anymore, because the posts that are coming out this way are holding it out and off of the truck. So nothing's gonna slide or fall down this way. And the awning came with a little bag full of hardware. And in this bag, you'll find some rope and a couple of tent stake looking things. And what you'll want to do with these guys is you're going to tie these to the end here. There's a little grabber at the very end of the frame, and you can extend these down to hold it down so that in wind events or heavy rain, you know that the awning is locked down tight. Because right now it's, something can grab it and move it. And so these will hold it to the ground. I'm not going to tie these all out right now. I'll let you use your imagination that I've put these out and staked them to the ground. You can see how the awning's deployed. I'll give you a couple of different looks at it so that you can see what it looks like. So here it is from the front passenger. Here it is head on. The awning dimensions that I have are 8 foot by 8 foot. So it's 8 foot off the truck and then 8 foot long this way. And typically when you're camping, you're off the back end of the truck because that's how you get in and out of the camper. So this is your typical view from the rear. I like that it's 7 foot here because it doesn't cause me to duck. The double doors, the passenger side has to swing shut first, and then you crank the handle down there to shut it. It also has its own lock. You could lock this side and then you can't get in. But the way that the door frame works, the driver's side has to be opened first or shut last because it overlaps with the passenger side. So you could get away with just locking the driver's side, but you have the option to lock both if you'd like. Once you're inside and you want to lock it, you would shut the door, which would put the door handle in this position. And then you have this little key attached to the door handle. This little rod right here slides into the hole that's in the door handle hardware. And once you put this rod in the hole here, it prevents the door handle from rotating. And then to unlock it, you just pull it out. Pretty simple. The last thing I want to show you on the outside are the lights, but it's too bright out right now to fully appreciate them. So I'm going to have to show you what they look like at night. But to turn the lights on, we have this light switch right here. It's right at the entryway, so you don't have to climb into the camper to turn anything on or off. One of these switches goes to interior lights. So as you're entering, you can turn everything on so you can see where you're going. And turn the lights off. Come in here, hit the light switch. We have in here multiple extra lights. We got one on either side, one over the counter and one over the passenger side. Then we have another one over here. You can turn just half of it on or both of them on. That illuminates the cargo or the kids' bed area really nicely. And lastly, let's look at the outside lights. This is the driver's side, this is the passenger side, and then this is the rear. I'll turn the driver's side on real quick. Kicks a lot of light, as you can see there. And push the passenger side on real quick. Again, kicks a ton of light down here. Floods this whole area. And then what is probably my favorite is the rear lights. The rear lights really take over and are super, super bright. This is plenty enough light to hang out on a nice warm night and make dinner or cook out. Turn these lights back off. All right, let's send it back to daytime. All right, so we're headed on in. So we'll go over the counter side, then the Cabover component, and then the deployable bed. Let's get in here. Try my best with the lighting and the angles now. We're in a little bit tighter spot. So on the top here, we got a water jug. Pretty easy to take on and off the wall. It has this little hook and tensioner. You just pull the string out a little bit. You can unhook it, slide this through the handle. This pops right off the wall. You can get a better idea of what the holder looks like. You can give it a little wiggle and see that it's in there pretty good. Put everything back, pretty simple. Slide this in here, take the strap, bring it around, clip it on, pull it tight. Back in there. The little water jug comes with a spout, so it's pretty easy to turn water on and off whenever you want to take a drink. Also has a little release port on the top that you can plug. Probably plug it for driving around, just to make sure that nothing wants to spill. Now moving left to right along the cabinet here, we have some power ports, AC outlets here. We don't have an inverter, so this is only activated when we have shore power connected. Here's a USB port. It has types A and C connected here. So whatever cord you got, plug it in. And then here's your standard cigarette lighter 12-volt port. So if you have any car accessories that you want to power, you can do it there. Going into the cabinet, we got a big opening in there. It goes all the way to the front, and that allows you to have access to things, but also store some larger items, which is kind of nice. We got double doors over here. You can see we got our fire extinguisher in there. This is a connection that we can use to plug into shore power. We haven't opened it yet because we haven't stayed at any campgrounds. We've got the main power shutoff valve right here. So if you want to shut all power off to the camper, you push this in, and now everything's unpowered. And to repower everything, just pull it back out. And then we have the owner's manual, so that as we learn the new toy that we just got, we can refer back to the manual and figure it out. These cabinets do a pretty good job at locking shut. There's an audible click that gives you that feedback. It gives you the feeling that they're actually going to stay shut. We have 2 drawers. This is the hardware for the awning I was just showing you. Down here, we haven't loaded anything up in here or started organizing yet, so I thought it was a perfect time to show you what we have before we cover it all up or start changing things as we want. So that's why you don't see anything in any of the cabinets that you would expect. We got a window above the counter right here. It's nice to get some air in here. It slides out and is exposing about half this space. And there's a little bug screen in here, which is nice too, because Alaska, we have a lot of mosquitoes. And it clicks shut and holds itself shut so it doesn't slide open when you're driving around. Down at the end of the counter here on the wall, we have a set of outlets, shore power 120, USB, and the 12 volt. Very similar, actually the exact same as what's at the other side of the counter. And then up here we have our thermostat. This kicks the heat on and off. Pretty simple. There's a switch right here that when you kick it to the driver's side, and it turns on the furnace. You set the temperature with this bottom dial up and down. If the furnace is kicked on and you turn it off, at first when I turned it off, I would have thought that everything would just turn off immediately, but it doesn't turn off immediately because it doesn't want a short cycle. So it's just gonna run for about 30 seconds and then it'll cut out. The furnace intake is right here. And then there's another intake up in the front corner. The furnace outputs are here, and then there's another one under here. You can see it right there. The exit port under the counter makes a lot of sense because you want to push some heat down by your feet, and then it's going to rise up. Along with the heater outflow being under the counter, we also have this connection here. This is the standard trailer port. This is how the camper connects to the truck's battery and alternator. Cash campers put this in the side of my bed and spliced it into the trailer lighting. So when this is connected and we're driving around, the alternator is able to charge the battery of the camper as well. We have a CO detector here, which is important because we have a small enclosed space with a heater in it. So that's good to have. We have a shelf and another little storage area right here with some meshing to hold things in. So moving to the cab over here, this is where the battery and the furnace are located. Behind this access, you have the battery right here. You got the furnace back there. You got the charge controller mounted on the wall right there. You can see all the wiring nice and neat. That's always nice to see. You can tell there's definitely room back here for an additional battery. So if we ever wanted to upgrade, it's probably a pretty simple addition. We can check the battery status or health right here, whether it's getting charged or it needs charged, battery voltage state. You can cycle through a couple of things. So right now it's getting charged at 0.5 amp. It says that it's 100% full, about 112 amp hours of capacity, and it's sitting at 13.3 volts. Whether those magic numbers are correct or not, who's to say? But battery works. We've checked it all out and seems like everything's good to go. We didn't want to go as big as some of the Cabovers that are out there where you could have a queen size mattress up here for 2 adults to sleep. But what we did do is we settled on this that's 36 inches deep, and it's, as you can see here, about 5-something feet wide. What we plan to do up here beyond just use it as storage is we're gonna put a mattress up here, a custom sized little mattress for our kid, and maybe even sleep a dog and a kid. I think our kid will have more fun sleeping up here than anywhere else anyhow. So we have a ceiling fan in the middle. You open it up by spinning this knob counterclockwise and it lifts it up. You can see it go up right there. And to turn it on, it's got a switch here. It'll blow either up or down. You can choose which one you want. And then it has a little speed dial here as well. You can really crank this thing up. It's like turning us into a helicopter or something. Ready? for when you want max airflow. Maybe somebody lets a stinky fart out, and that's what speed 3 is for. All right, passenger side, we have another window. Opens up the same way as the driver's side over the counter. Now it's time to show you the bed. So the bed is attached to the wall with this strap. You just undo the strap here, and then the bed can fold out. It's got a hinge on the bottom that it's connected to, so it's not going to fall off. We have these feet that cash campers put on for us to help support the bed up when we put the weight on it. So those rotate out like that. Do both of them. And then this will slide straight down and land on the ground. And in this position, it is like a little bench. So if we had the right cushion shape, which we'll probably make some cushions to put in here, we may be able to just use some of the like regular old lawn chair type cushions. But we'll find some cushions, and this will be our little bench if we want to have it in a bench configuration. I'll show you what it looks like from outside. You see there's plenty of room still in here to walk around and do whatever you're going to do. Make a sandwich, have a sit. All right, now I'll show you how the bed works. So this is the bench, and we have 2 more positions where this will line up so that there is a bed, 2 different size beds. This is attached to the hinge, and this guy, another foot, slides down and rotates out, just like the other feet. And this plops down like that. My wife and I and dog slept on this configuration with no problem. It wasn't super, super tight, but it also wasn't very spacious. So if you need a little bit more space, there's an additional piece to the bed, and I'll show you how that works. So on the edge of this piece, there's this metal shelf that goes the length all the way down, and it lines up with the back of the camper there. There's another shelf on top there. Additionally, there's a channel cut in underneath the cabinet right here. We're going to slide a piece into that. So there's a third portion to this bed, and it's up against the wall here, slid in between 2 grooves. So to get it undone, we're going to slide it up and out. This additional piece of bedding, it has a metal plate here. That's what's going to slide into the channel that's underneath the cabinet. And then this side is going to sit on top of that other metal shelf that's attached to the main piece of the bed. To put this together, I'm going to push this back to the wall so that way it's sitting on top of that shelf. We're going to slide it down, and we're going to line up this metal edge to under the cabinet so that it can slide up and underneath that. And then it just pops into place. It sits right on that shelf. I had them cut a couple of holes in this for me because if it's raining out and I don't want to step outside to mess with this panel, I can deploy it and recover it inside here by just like stepping and crawling around on top of the bed and pulling it in and out. I personally like putting it in the way I just showed you because it's a little bit easier. You can see now you've really transformed the bed of the truck into a full sleeper platform. This space under here, tons of space to put your gear. A standard like yellow lid tote from Home Depot or Lowe's slides under here nice and easy. So you can really fill the bed under here with all your gear and keep it nice and organized. You can see this thing's pretty big. I'm almost full starfished in the middle of it. It's a little bit different dimensions than a queen, but it's essentially a queen mattress would fit on this. Try not to get my boots in here so I can keep the bed clean. I'll show you how I recover it from the inside. You use these holes, put your fingers in. That'll help you grab it and pull it out. And then you can slide it over to here. You can step down. Now you can pick things up and slide them up and over. Crawl onto the bed again. Take this piece and put it in the channel that's built onto the side over here to receive this. Putting the bed back up against the wall is pretty simple. Rotate this, put the foot down. Now it's back in its bench position to go all the way back home, pick it up, rotate the feet around, attach the strap. Now you're ready to drive around again. All right, I want to show you some of the special sauce to mount this thing to this truck. Bed rails on a truck are not built to support a lot of weight. A lot of it's just composite bed and then some sheet metal to hold the outer portion of the truck together and make it look nice. So there's no real structural component to the bed rails in a lot of cases. If you look at your truck bed, you'll see bolts. Those bolts that are holding the bed down come all the way down through these little pedestals and mount directly to the frame. What Cash Campers did to mount this to the bed so that there's no long-term problems or there's no like folding or damage done to the bed is they built these custom T-brackets, and they've reinforced the canopy portion to mate with these T-brackets so that there's a structural component going across here, and then it mates to these T's and disperses the weight down and into the frame. So we're able to use these T-brackets to distribute the load of the canopy directly into the frame instead of sitting on top of the sheet metal bed rails, which, yeah, that doesn't sound like it would hold much, and it wouldn't. Cash Campers also added a bracket at the end of my bed. It's like an L-shaped piece here. Toyota's saying that if you have a cap that weighs more than 200 pounds, you need to add some stiffeners to the back of the bed. This is to prevent this sheet metal to rack left and right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the run through. If you want to find out more about campers like this, you can contact info@cashcamper.com, or you can check out the link in the description below. They have a pretty cool website. Go check it out. And if you want to follow along on our adventures, subscribe to the channel Wicked Alaska. See you on the trail.